So that's something I just wanted to tell you. So we look at building your community and working together, establishing some kind of organizational structure and communication structure, and developing networks of support in your community, the community that's working together, the broader community that you're living in, and all the resources that you need to be able to do this. So community development is intentional time where you meet regularly, where you talk about ways to build consensus. How do we make decisions and build consensus? You share responsibilities and resources. Everybody's playing. So if you haven't gotten the idea so far, if you think somebody's going to help provide these things to you, and you came tonight to hear what we were going to provide to you, that is not this game. This game is about creating something together, and everybody's in some way participating, bringing their resources, gifts, talent, strength to the work. And then in terms of beginning the journey, we're building community between families, the individuals, personal networks across all of that community, organizations in the community, and community partners who might work with you. So next is the taking action. This is where we determine an ownership model, identify potential residents, and review public and private resources, and define housing criteria. So we're working with family groups to start to think about what is the criteria that they have for housing option. What's it need to look like? Where does it need to be? What kind of public transportation needs to be by it? How many people can live in a room? All of those details. People have to work that out together and talk about their own needs, and then how will they work together to meet those needs. And then the type of housing location, criteria, the model of ownership, and then how will it be financed, if it's rental, or if it's going to be some property you buy together, or if it's, whatever it is that the group decides. We then, in moving ahead, talk about determining the support needs and identifying that criteria for support. Developing some kind of model. If you decide you're going to hire some kind of independent staffing to support, community builders or others, and in this process, since we've been down the road, we give you our job descriptions for the people we hire. We share with you our job postings that we put out there. We talk about, give you any resources that we have so that you'll be able to try to think about it and adapt it for your area. So we try to give you as much information as we can that would help in your journey in this area of the country. And then preparing all the families and the residents for a transition. Anne asked earlier, so is your individual going to be ready in 2 years and 5 years? She didn't ask the question, you ready today? Are you really ready? When sometimes we find out that the families aren't as ready as the individuals are. So in terms of this, again, we're determining all of these criteria, resources that are available inside the network, outside the network, what kind of government funding is available for the people working in the group, what kind of levels of services are actually needed. Working with a group in DC who decided they don't need the overnight presence, but they want an emergency call number. So they're trying to figure out, how does that look? I don't care if they live nearby, but I want somebody to get that other than the phone when my kid calls at midnight and says. So, different groups come up with different solutions based on what the needs are. Okay, and so opening your doors, we start talking about, I just wanted to tell the story of Harrison, which of course we got the not in my backyard stuff as soon as people heard that we were going to be having individuals move in, and it was outrageous, so we had a party, and we invited everybody to come, and we had a barbecue, and the whole neighborhood showed up, and one of the fathers showed up and talked about how incredible it was for his son to be able to, or his daughter to be able to move into a space like this and live in community. And by the end of the evening, everybody was saying, oh, when you need something fixed in the house, just call me, I'm a great carpenter. And so we introduced everybody in the community to the individuals that they know, the people in their neighborhood. So we start to make those community connections. And then we talk about how you make the residents a home, and the move-in day, the handling of the day-to-day, and preparing for the road ahead. There's always a period of adjustment, like any kid that you send off into a new environment, there's this, it's all great. And then, oh, it's horrible, Mom, get me out of here. And then it's, oh, settling in. Oh, I'm not going to obey by those rules or whatever, and then it's settling in. So we always warn parents that there's always going to be this period of time that people are going to go through to adjust to a new living situation. So, these are the 3 houses that we just talked about in Evanston. The next slide is a group that we worked with that's not far from us called Stars Family Services in Wheaton. Their first house is up on top. We worked with them and they opened that there and had 4 individuals living in there in Wheaton. And then they opened their second house, and their